Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 1263.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to be talking about how the average American homeowner is a millionaire. That's right, the average homeowner, according to the Federal Reserve, is now worth over $1 million. Now, some of this has gone a little bit crazy because of the pandemic, and we know that housing values have jumped 40% since 2020. So that's given homeowners a definite advantage for their net worth growing sharply. And the median net worth of the average American family surged by 37% between 2019 and 2022. The mean net worth of an average American household, which is easily influenced by billionaires who can rake up the entire average, adjusted for inflation, stood at $1.06 million in 2022, a 23% increase compared to 2019, which was $868,000. And meanwhile, the median net worth, which represents the midpoint, half are above and half are below the median for a typical American household, was $192,900. When you look at the top 10% of income earners, those households have a mean net worth of $6.63 million, according to the Fed survey, while households in the bottom 10% had a mean net worth of $5,300 in 2022. The survey also revealed a decline in the percentage of families filing for bankruptcy, dropping from 2% in 2019 to just 1.3% in 2022. Home ownership is pivotal in this study to having more net worth. In 2022, nearly 2 out of every 3 American families were homeowners, reflecting a slight increase from the previous 3 years. And rising home values significantly contributed to the overall increase in household wealth during this period, and the average net worth of homeowners stood at $1.53 million in 2022. The problem is, home prices surging so much has created challenges for those who want to become home buyers and has made it less affordable to finance because interest rates have gone up so much. Last year, the median home cost was over 4.6 times the median family income, making homeownership less accessible for many Americans. And in another Fed survey released in May, it found that 65% of Americans who rent are doing so because they can't afford a down payment to buy a home. The other thing that increased people's net worth was an ownership of stocks. If you invested in stocks or have them in your retirement account, the Fed found that the mean value increased by 13% from $295,800 to $334,000. Also, people have transaction accounts, which include checking accounts, savings accounts, money markets, prepaid debit cards, etc. That was the most commonly held category of financial assets in 2022 and had an ownership rate of 98.6%. The mean value of transaction accounts in 2022 was $62,500, up 29% from 2019. However, separate data has found that persistent inflation and higher prices has begun to erode consumers' purchasing power. And more than half of Americans earning over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck, according to a survey by Barron's. Now, I have been a staunch believer in owning your own home and believing that owning your own home is one of the biggest determinants of future wealth. Because home prices have risen so much over the years, it is one of the reasons why people who are real estate heavy tend to have higher net worth. And while since 2020 we have had really high compounding rates, typically real estate has about a 5% average annual compounding rate, which is not the highest. If you look at stocks, it tends to be 10% over the long term. But what gives housing an advantage is you're buying it on leverage. And because you're borrowing 80% and putting down 20%, over the last 30 years, that's accumulated a lot of wealth for you. And with interest rates so low, you didn't have to pay as much in interest as you did in the 80s when interest rates were much, much higher in the double digits. So I know there's a trend of trying to convince young people to rent and not own homes. I think that's a huge mistake. My belief is you should own property as soon as you can. Now, when I was young, sometimes we couldn't afford to buy a home, so we bought condos first. And we made money on the condo that would give us enough money to make a down payment on a home. And then once you own the home, trying to stay in the home as long as you can is going to be a good financial decision, because buying and selling homes is one of the most expensive things that you can do. And also you may have to pay taxes on your gains unless you do a 1031 exchange, take advantage of the tax laws, and move into your next home without having to pay capital gains tax. All in all, a home is one of the best investments that you can make, but homes do move in cycles, and it's my opinion we're about 3 years or so from the peak of this cycle. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.